Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Landing, hosted by me, Fisher, and my friend Tristan. And today we are going to talk about our top 5 favorite TV shows. But before we do that, we have some predictions to make, Tristan.
Bengals, baby.
Yep, I am starting
Bingo.
to be on the Bengals basically bandwagon, honestly.
Yeah, it seems like everyone is. It seems like everyone wants Cincinnati to win that game.
Yeah, did you see EA's prediction for their simulation? Uh,
Yeah, didn't they have the Bengals winning? Was it 24-21?
yeah, it was a 3 point difference. Yeah, or something like that.
And the
But
only time that they actually correctly nailed the score was Super Bowl 49, whenever the
yeah,
Patriots beat us.
yeah, I
Ooh,
remember reading about that. I'm just like, wow, thanks a lot, EA. But even though it's their only accurate prediction,
I know.
but we'll see how this Super Bowl goes. I'm afraid I am really hope it's not a blowout. I hope it's a good game. We were pretty spoiled within the playoffs, except for minus the first round, I'd say. The playoffs were really entertaining to watch. The divisional rounds, the NFC and AFC championships, and hopefully the Super Bowl is going to be a close one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
it's going to be an interesting game for sure.
yeah, I mean, it's just so funny how much attention Joe Burrow is getting.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally through memes, like, oh my god, TikToks, like anything you could think of, he is just getting so much attention. And man, I don't know, will the hype die down for him if he loses? I mean, I don't know if he just plays like crap for some reason. But I don't.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm pretty excited, regardless, for
Yeah,
this
I mean,
game.
how could you not hype the guy up? I mean, he won a college football, he won a national championship just a couple of years ago, and this is his first full year playing because he tore his ACL and MCL in his rookie
Hmm.
year. I think he also tore his PCL or LCL or strained it or something like that. Either way, it was a horrific knee injury, and then he
Right.
comes back to start the season and plays his first start to finish season, and he's taking his team to the Super Bowl.
Hmm. And
And that's
did you see that he what was I gonna say? He was gonna he smokes a cigar after every title he wins.
yeah, it was something like that. I know he did that like after the division game. Yeah,
But he also did it for LSU when he played in college still.
yeah, right, right.
Yeah, and I think and yeah, they interviewed him about it, and that's what he said, and he says he hopes to smoke another one, of course, if they win the Super Bowl. Um,
Yeah, nice designer shades.
Yeah, but yeah, honestly, I think it's gonna be great. Of course, we didn't really talk about the Pro Bowl because there's nothing to talk about in the Pro Bowl. I think there was only like one tackle throughout that whole game. But Pro Bowl is what it is. I don't know. If you let's say they had the Pro Bowl in, I don't know, Lumen Stadium or Lumen Field, where the Seahawks play. Would you go to watch the Pro Bowl there, if it was hosted near us?
Uh, Depending on the price of the tickets, if they were overpriced like they are in the playoffs and super, there's no way it's going to be that overpriced. It's just the Pro Bowl. But I mean, if the tickets were fairly cheap, I'd at least give it a go. I think it'd be a cool experience. But I don't think you're really going there expecting like a really good game. It's just more so you're going to see all these superstars and they're playing in your local stadium.
Yeah, that's kind of the point I was trying to make. It's not for necessarily the game, just the players. But
Right.
that would be, I thought that would be pretty interesting. I don't know how much Pro Bowl tickets cost. I never really looked it up, but I imagine they're not like I imagine they're a lot cheaper than the Super Bowl tickets anyway. So
It seems like the further, like each year farther into the NFL, you hear more people speak out about how dumb the Pro Bowl is.
mhm.
And I didn't like, you know, I don't get why they have moved the Pro Bowl to like different cities over the past couple of years. Like, I get the whole variety thing, but I mean, it was in Hawaii. I'm pretty sure it was in Honolulu. Like, if they
Yeah,
didn't vote,
and nobody went over there.
wouldn't want to go to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Like sounds appealing in that way. I mean, you get to go to Hawaii as like a reward for having a good season, and you basically get to play like two hand touch. I mean, it
Yeah.
sounds, it sounds attractive in that way, but now that they're having it, like they had it in Orlando with 1 year. Did they have it in Vegas this year?
Yeah, it was in Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, they're traveling around, which I get that, but I mean, like, it seems like Hawaii is much more of a vacation, and it's like farther away too. It's not in the continental U.S. Like it's like a farther trip.
Right, you have to take into account of like plane ticket costs from there and back.
Hmm.
So that's kind of a whole deal there, and yeah, and of course, like if you lived like especially on the eastern side of the United States, you have to pay a lot more than compared to us. So yeah, that would just really suck. But either way. Football, it's coming to an end. We are going to still have the Super Bowl. Amazing. I've been trying to watch basketball a little bit more. My parents sometimes have college basketball playing. Like I was watching Purdue and Illinois play the other night. I think it was last night. That was kind of fun to watch. But yes. So, and by the way, I guess we should clarify to the listeners here that Tristan's voice, it doesn't sound the same as we've heard previously in the other episodes, and that's because he's talking on his phone. For some reason, his voice has been lagging a lot in Discord when he's on his computer. No idea what the reason is, but every time like he does it on his phone using like his network or whatever that he pays for, like yeah, it just sounds way better. Like it doesn't cut out or anything like that.
Yeah, it's being a mess. I'm curious to see how it sounds though whenever I re-listen to the show.
Yeah, it actually sounds pretty good. Like you haven't really cut up that too much there, but yeah, obviously the quality of your voice isn't. It could be better with the actual microphone you use, but
Yeah,
oh well. I mean, as long as I'm able to hear every word you say, I think it's gonna be fine.
exactly. We're making.
I don't know what you said right there, but I think you might have cut
No
out.
fucking way.
Yeah, I'm not even kidding.
We never had very many cutouts yet. We'll just keep going while it works and stop working.
God, I'm fucking jinxing it. Let's just stop talking about it. Okay, but our biggest thing that we really want to go over in this episode, and it kind of sucks because we were actually going to have a third person on here, but unfortunately he's sick today and cannot make it. But we're going to be talking about. Wait, what?
Not rhyme with farter.
Yeah, his name does not rhyme with farter. But yeah, top 5 TV shows. Tristan, are we just gonna do all of ours at once, or are we gonna just do like back and forth, like 5, 4, or whatever? Back and forth. Okay.
And whenever we go, like, at least what I did with my shows, they're not like my personal, like what I think are the top 5 shows of all time. These are just like my top 5 favorite shows.
Yeah. Yeah. That's yeah, I'd want to make that really clear too, that this is all subject to our opinion. This is not like saying these are the top 5 shows of all time. Anybody else's opinion is wrong. But no, it's not like that. But I have like I also have like a lot of honorable mentions that I'm probably just gonna read really quickly at the end. But like
We should get honorable mentions first out of the way.
okay, yeah, I have a lot. I like how many? I don't even know how many I have. Yeah, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
You have more honorable mentions.
I got 15 honorable mentions. So this is like more of a top 20 list or top 25 or whatever. But
I'll do my honorable mentions first since it's significantly shorter.
yeah.
Yeah, but like my main honorable mention shows were Futurama and Rocco's Modern Life. I mean, I'm a big cartoon guy. I really like cartoons. They're just a big part of my childhood, and there's so many more cartoons that I watch now that you'll see whenever we get into the actual list. But when it came to Futurama and Rocco's Modern Life, I like those 2 shows a lot. I just couldn't put them in the list because I hadn't seen every episode of both of those series.
Okay, yeah. I honestly, Futurama, I've seen a little bit. But I don't really have an opinion of it. It's not a terrible show. I don't know. I just, for some reason, I never got into it, but I don't know if I really ever gave it a chance either.
Yeah, I liked it more than The Simpsons just because it was more, I don't know, it was just more serious. Like, there were some episodes that get you in your feels.
Yeah, I there's this one reoccurring clip I see constantly online, and it's like where they go to like a planet where like there's these big strong women and like the only people on the planet, and like they're wanting to like get killed by him like because they think it's attractive or something like that. But I don't know. Futurama, yeah, it's kind of interesting. What was the second one you said?
Rocco's Modern Life. It was a Nickelodeon cartoon from the 90s. But I used to have Nicktoons Network, and I used to watch it all the time when I was like 11, 12. Whenever I'd watch it, it would come on at like 1 or 2 in the morning.
I honestly have never heard of it. I'm gonna be
Oh,
honest
really?
with you. Yeah.
Great show. You know, yeah, you got Rocco, Heifer, and Filbert. Those are the 3 main characters, and they're just doing goofy stuff. And Steven Hillenburg, the writer for SpongeBob, some of his like earliest, he wrote a couple episodes in that show.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting.
It's curious to see his evolution going from that into creating SpongeBob.
Oh yeah. Huh. I never. That's yeah. That would be kind of interesting. But are those your only 2 honorable mentions?
Yeah, pretty much.
Really? Oh, okay. Well, I got a long one here. So, first of all, we got Avatar: The Last Airbender. We got Legend of Korra, although I think Avatar is definitely better than Legend of Korra. And then we got Silicon Valley, which I just finished. It was pretty good. Ending could have been like a little bit better. I wish Erlich, the character in the show, would have stayed longer. And then we got The Boys, which is still currently going on. There's only 2 seasons right now, and that's a pretty good show. It has like, it's a serious show. I don't know if you've ever seen it, Tristan, The Boys, but it's serious, but pretty funny too in some ways. And then there's Chuck. That's an older show. And then there's Community, and then Dexter, Hannibal, Arrested Development. A lot of people I feel like don't like that show, but I think that they have some pretty good jokes in there. And then there's Loki, and then Jimmy Neutron, a show I definitely grew up watching. Hi, Jimmy's mom. Yeah, that's a great show. Then Regular Show, that's a good one. Big Mouth, that one I guess is still going on. I just think the idea of doing having animated middle schoolers and them going through puberty and middle school life is just hilarious. But then there's also Codename Kid Next Door, another show I grew up as a kid watching. And then there's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I wish I could put that in my top 5 because that show's hilarious, and I haven't really been up to date with it recently. But for the most part, yeah, I think I watched like maybe the first 3 seasons or 5 seasons, and oh my god, yeah, I think Always Sunny is hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good one for sure. So many memes.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, now let's go into our top 5. So Tristan, you go first. What's your top 5?
My 5 is one of the honorable mentions. It's Silicon Valley. I really like that show. I like all the characters. Like Guilfoyle is definitely my favorite. He's really smart and sarcastic, and it's entertaining watching him and Dinesh go back and forth the entire show. But, yeah, I liked it. It was cool seeing Mike Judge, who made like King of the Hill, Beavis and Butthead, and all those shows, go into making a show that wasn't a cartoon. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I just liked it. I mean, it was a bummer whenever Erlich left, or like whenever T.J. Miller left the show. And it would have been cool to see him at the very end. And the end is the one flaw I find in the show.
Yeah.
I didn't like it, but overall, as a whole show, I had a ton of fun watching it. It was the one show that I binged whenever I was in quarantine. And I really liked it. I thought it was really good. The ending, I would change. But other than that, I liked the show a lot. It was entertaining. It was funny. And at the same time, it was like one of those comedies where I could watch it, and I didn't... Like with Trailer Park Boys, I love that show. It's fucking hilarious, but the more I watch it, it feels like it's lowering my IQ because of how dumb. And Silicon Valley, I don't watch the whole episode with the whole they're talking about circle jerking or talking about people jerking each other.
Oh yeah, they do all the math for it or whatever. Yeah.
And then they have that whiteboard and they write all the equations out and stuff like that. And they said they had an actual Stanford professor approve the equation and stuff like that. So I mean, it was just one of those shows where you just watch it and it's just almost smart funny in a way. You don't get smarter by watching the show, but I don't feel dumber by watching it and laughing about it.
That's a good point. That's something how I felt about watching Silicon Valley as well, was all the fancy words they were using. I was just kind of okay, I kind of follow along, but I really have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah, I know some of these words.
Yeah, I know some of these words, but yeah, Silicon Valley is a good one. Of course, you got me into that because I was looking for a new show to watch, and I'm glad it was on HBO Max because I have access to that. So yeah, Silicon Valley, definitely a great show, and I guess I can do my top 5 show, and that is going to be Rick and Morty. I
Nice.
really do like it. I think they recently added season 5 on HBO Max. Didn't they just do that or something? I don't know.
Man,
'Cause that's the newest season, right? I just want to make sure I'm correct on that.
I honestly don't know. Like, I was really into Rick and Morty whenever like the series premiere came out, like, or I think it was like mid late 2013, and then I watched the first 2 seasons. I remember season 2. I believe the first episode was on my birthday, and I remember watching that and getting all excited. And I had the first 2 seasons of Rick and Morty. Loved it, thought it was funny. And the Szechuan sauce episode came out on April Fool's Day. I thought that was hilarious, but that whole meme and like everyone like demanding for the Szechuan sauce to come back, which I mean was cool and it tasted fine. But I remember when all that started, like the whole entire Rick and Morty fan base just like blew up, and I saw so many of the cringy like Rick and Morty like musicallys because that was before TikTok was around.
Oh yeah. Huh.
Yeah, I remember seeing all those, and like the whole fan base, like the whole meme of like, oh, you have to have a certain IQ to understand this Rick and Morty joke, or like all those things. Like it got annoying, and after
Yeah.
that, I couldn't take the show seriously anymore. It's not that it's bad; it's just like I don't know. Maybe I'll get back into it again one day, but even then, like I watched season 3. I had to like power through it, and I just didn't think it was as good as the first 2 seasons.
Yeah, I can respect that. I guess, like, for me, I've always known about Rick and Morty. I never really had access to watching it anywhere. And then all of a sudden, when I got HBO Max, I'm like, oh, I didn't know Rick and Morty's on here. And of course, like, I never really paid attention to their fan base because I never, like, watched the show in the first place. But yeah, I mean, personally, I do like it. I don't know if season 5 is any good, but I think they have some really intelligent jokes in the show that I found pretty fascinating. Okay, that totally reminds me of another honorable mention, which I'll get to in a second. But yeah, some of the jokes they have in Rick and Morty I thought were pretty genius. It's not even the jokes. It's actually the plot of certain episodes and the way they lay it out. I just thought were really like it was so much different compared to like any other show I watched, and I thought they did a good job executing on them. And so the story wise, like the actual story of Rick and Morty, I personally could care less about. I don't care that Rick's this drunk who's like actually depressed deep down inside. I don't really care about any of that. I just like care about something that's entertaining, and I thought that show is pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I remember there's that one episode. I think it's in season 2, and there's something wrong with Rick's with the space cruiser, and they're trying to fix a part inside there, and then like Morty's guessing the name of it, and Rick's like, Morty, you can't just add some scientific word next to a car part and think it's an actual part. Go inside the quantum carburetor. It was something like that.
Yeah. So there's definitely certain jokes that definitely stand out to certain people, like not certain people that stand out to everybody, and it's just like I mean I don't know, I can't think of any on the top of my head because it's been a year since I've watched it. But the other honorable mention I forgot to mention is the Harley Quinn show. That is a pretty funny. I don't know if you ever watched it, but if you're into like superheroes and you just want to watch something that's entertaining and doesn't take itself seriously, then Harley Quinn show is definitely it. They have some pretty intelligent jokes in there. I mean, I don't know, Tristan, did you ever watch that?
I never did, honestly.
Harley Quinn show is a hilarious show, and it's definitely entertaining to watch, especially if you're into superhero stuff. But yeah, anyway, let's go into number 4.
Number 4. So I was torn between 2 different shows for number 4. One of them didn't even make the list, and the other one, the one I ended up putting at number 4, is King of the Hill. That's a show that I didn't like that much growing up, but the older I've gotten, the more I've learned to appreciate that show. It doesn't try to be funny. It's not like always like having like punchlines and being like Family Guy. It's just I feel like it's just a show like the older I've gotten, the more I've learned to like it. Like I always thought like Bobby was annoying and like Hank, there's nothing special about him, but that's the thing. Like he doesn't try to be special. He's just like a stereotypical like Republican dad in Texas selling propane and propane accessories, and he has his like main buddies Boomhauer, Dale, and Bob, and they're all just hanging out doing their stuff. It's just a show, but like it's just a funny show, but it doesn't try to be funny. The older I've gotten, the more I appreciate it. Because like and seeing it come from Mike Judge, who made Beavis and Butthead, and people like that show I think that show's fantastic, but you can only hear so much of people impersonating Beavis and Butthead all the time. Like, it gets annoying after a while. But like with King of the Hill, I mean, it's such a change of pace from that. And yeah, no, I really like that show. It's a show that like I can watch and like it's like a comfort show almost. Like I've fallen asleep watching that show multiple times.
Yeah, it's definitely like one of those like late night television shows that comes on Adult Swim.
Oh yeah.
But honestly, I never got into it. Like I definitely have appreciated it as I got older, but I still never I never took the initiative to just force myself to watch it because I was just never interested in the first place. But I have came across some clips of that show that are just absolutely hilarious. Like I remember there's one clip where it starts snowing because I think they're in Texas, right? And like it starts snowing and everyone's like freaking out and like there's barely like any snow on the ground and everybody's trying to drive out of the parking lot, but they're all like hitting each other. I thought that was just hilarious. Or like they're like going to get like a gun for like Bobby, but I think it's like a BB gun. And he's like, can I put a gun rack on my bike? And then like Hank's like, do you know how long I've been waiting for you to ask me that? I definitely came across some clips of that show that I just think are hilarious. And I really need to take the time to go ahead and watch it. But
sorry. I like that one episode where Hank's a grill mistakes, and he's like, firm but with a little give. Yep, these are medium rare. And then Bobby's like, oh, like, what if someone wants their steak well done? And then Hank's like, we ask them politely yet firmly to leave.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And then like there's also a lot of memes of King of the Hill too. Like there was one that was trending for quite a while not too long ago, and it was it was like it's like if those kids could read they'd be pissed or something like that.
I like this new generation of music, and then he puts on that and it just plays something like really bad.
Yeah, exactly. Oh god, yeah. Okay, now I got really. Where do you watch it? Where can you watch that show?
It's on Hulu.
Fuck me, god damn it! I don't have Hulu.
Yeah, no, but that's the one bummer. I mean, like Hulu was my favorite streaming platform for a while because it had South Park, Rick and Morty, Workaholics, which is that's got to be another honorable mention. That was a great show too. And then Regular Show, I should have shouted that show out too. There were so many good shows on, and then Futurama was also on Hulu. Like there were so many good shows. And then once I think HBO Max bought out South Park for I think it was like $500 million, something like that for the streaming exclusive rights or whatever. And then so yeah, now there's a different show on like every single streaming platform. Like you pay for all the streaming platforms, it's the equivalent to having cable again.
Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, Hulu. Yeah, I don't know. My parents might have it. They might. I'll have to ask them if they do, and I'll get their password. But, yeah, King of the Hill, definitely one I need to start watching. But my top 4 TV show is Star Wars: The Clone Wars. This is a very nostalgic show for me. As a kid growing up, I loved Star Wars to death. It was amazing. Right now I'm not really a Star Wars fan. I think this week I'm going to go ahead and watch the Book of Boba Fett. I'm just like, I don't know. I can go on forever why I don't really like Star Wars now. And I think a lot of people can agree with me because they kind of screwed up a lot of things, but either way,
did you watch The Mandalorian?
Yes, I did. The second season was overrated. Extremely overrated in my opinion. I mean, I like how Ahsoka was in it because that's a character I liked in the Clone Wars, and I thought it was really cool they got a live action version of her. But the thing is, they told everybody that Ahsoka was going to be in the second season, and I was pissed off because I'm like, well, that would have been a good surprise if I didn't know that. And that was a little disappointing that I knew ahead of time.
Wasn't Bill Burr in an episode of The Mandalorian?
He was in a couple episodes, I think.
He was.
Yeah, which is funny because I've always known who Bill Burr was, but until I started listening to Joe Rogan's podcast more, I realized who Bill Burr is, and I'm like, that's funny. Why was he in The Mandalorian?
Yeah, and he has a show, F is for Family, on Netflix.
Right. I think that's a good show. I haven't watched it though.
I watched the first 2 seasons and I thought it was funny.
Okay, cool. But yeah, so Star Wars: The Clone Wars, that was a show I grew up as a watching as a kid, and of course they recently, no, I shouldn't say recently. When was it? Freaking end of 2019, I want to say they released the last season of the show, and I didn't watch the couple of seasons before that too, because they weren't on Cartoon Network anymore. And I think the reason why they took it off Cartoon Network is because it started to get too adult or something like that, which it definitely was. Like the show starts off totally like meant for kids. It's kind of the jokes are really cringy to watch, or just listen to, and then it started to get like it started to get progressively better as the show went on. Like it started to get a little bit more adult. When I say adult, I don't mean like extremely violent or anything, even though there is a few, there's like at least 2 scenes in the show that shows people killing themselves. Wow. Yeah. So nice. I know. And they showed those scenes in Cartoon Network too. I remember when I was watching them as a kid, I was like, holy shit, did they really just show someone killing themselves? I couldn't believe it. But yeah, and it just the story, the whole story of the Clone Wars is just incredible. It's definitely by far the best thing Star Wars has to offer, like story wise, and like the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy. I mean, I know that's the Clone Wars kind of ties in with the prequels, but I think it's way better than the original trilogy story, especially better than the new story they came up with, like Rey and Finn and all of them. Okay, whatever. I need to stop talking. I'm going forever about Star Wars, but
I was into I was never really like super into Star Wars, so I know like Clone Wars was a show on Cartoon Network, but there was also a movie. Was the show based off of the movie?
Yeah, so I think they announced the movie, and they also said there was going to be a TV show. The movie technically came first. And the movie is definitely like more meant for kids because that was when they were in their early development. And also, I forgot to mention the animation got better as the show progressed too. Like, it doesn't look super great when you first watch it, especially the Star Wars, the Clone Wars movie. But like, especially like the last season, the animation is just top tier. It's improved on it so much, and it's a shame they never used the same animation as they did in Rebels, which I actually never watched, but I've heard some interesting things about it. And at some point, I guess I should, but I heard it just wasn't good, so I don't want to waste my time watching it. But Clone Wars, oh my god, definitely best thing Star Wars has to offer. So many good episodes. The story is just so good, the way it progressed, and it just like, and it ties like this perfect bow throughout the entire Star Wars story. Like they just do a perfect job with it. But yeah, okay, I'm gonna stop talking about it. Let's move on to number 3.
That's a good show.
It's regular show. Okay. Is that what you said?
No, that's a good show. No, yeah, no. But so I was torn. So my 3 and my 2 are pretty much equal. I made my 3 my 3 and I made my 2 my 2 because due to its replay value. But my number 3 is Breaking Bad.
Really?
Wonderful show. Yes, I binge watched that show. I remember it was my sophomore year. I had my own TV. It was summertime, and I was just hanging out in there, and I started watching it. And I binged it. I remember I was kind of paranoid about it at the time because I had strict parents, and like I didn't think I was always afraid like my mom was going to come in. So I mean, since she was at work and it was in the summertime, I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch it now. And I remember Carter was telling me about how good it was, and I started watching it, and I binge watched the whole thing in a matter of a couple days.
Oh my god, really?
And then it was a matter. I don't know how long it was, but I was pretty much watching it nonstop. And then it was so good. I watched it a second time. And I just loved it. The ending of season 4 is my favorite. I believe it was season 4. Yeah, it was the one whenever. Have you watched Breaking Bad at all?
Yes. I love that show. It's amazing.
It's whenever Hector's like dinging the bell and then he blows up.
Oh yeah.
Like, space blown off.
Yeah, that actor's really good too. He's a really good actor.
Yeah, he is. He's in Far Cry 6, right?
Yeah, he is. And he's also in The Mandalorian. But
that's right.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Breaking Bad. Tremendous show. I would love to talk more about it, but there's a chance I might talk about it later. So we're on top 3. Oh gosh.
Yeah, man. I knew Walter died like before I even started the show.
No, I knew that too. I knew that.
Walter dies at the end. I'm like, oh god damn it.
Yeah, I knew that too, which was really disappointing because I think I would have enjoyed it more if I didn't know the ending already.
Yeah,
But
yeah, and like that's the thing with the show too. I feel like it starts off kind of awkward because like with like I think it was the first episode's one where like Skylar's like giving Walter a hand job for like
oh yeah,
what feels like an eternity. And I remember sitting there like this show is just so fucking weird. What the hell? Like this isn't even entertaining. And then the more I started watching it, and the more you start to see Walter turn into Heisenberg, it's just a really fucking good show. It's just it's crazy seeing like Jesse's whole story too.
hmm
Mhm.
And that reminds me that they added a joke into that show. So it wasn't Walter. It was the police officer guy. I can't think of his name. Um,
Hank,
is it Hank? Oh my gosh! Wow. Yeah,
yeah,
Hank.
it's weird.
He there was a time when he was in the hospital and like his wife really wanted him to get out of the hospital, but he didn't want to leave. And she's like, if I she was basically like saying like, if I can make you hard in like in 1 minute, then in less than a minute, then we have to leave the hospital. And he's like, fine. So she starts rubbing him, and then like they're doing like 10 seconds into it, and then he like starts staring at her in the eyes like with a worry on his face, and the next scene jumps to them leaving the hospital. That was like
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
that was like my most memorable scene in Breaking Bad for me. But yeah, the
That's
show
fun.
100% so good. Did you ever watch
Better
the
Call Saul.
no? Oh, that I have not watched that. I need to watch that. I
Yeah,
heard it's good.
I watched the first two seasons and I really enjoyed it. And after that, I just got lazy with it. So I don't know. It from based on how much I liked the first two seasons, I feel like it could have easily made my list. Like as you can tell, like you'll notice like with my top three are much higher than like my number four and my number five. Like my number four and my number five, I'll watch them and enjoy them, but
Mm.
my top three are like the main shows I watch. Like I don't watch a whole lot of TV, so whenever I find a show I really like, I'll just stick with it.